welcome back to another night of NECC Rainbow Six. We are really getting into those final weeks of the season, Treasure. It is going to be a joy to cast those last couple with you. I'm Lyros, and as I mentioned, I am with Treasure, and tonight we've got Kettering State versus Wayne State College.
Yeah, so like you said, we are really getting deep here. Week 7 out of 9, yet another beautiful Tuesday for some Rainbow Six Siege over here at NECC. This is up in the Champions Division, so these two teams have been having quite a good time of their competition. We're looking at a 3-3 record over at Wayne State College and a 5-2 for Kettering. So they're doing a little bit better, but these two teams are pretty thick in the middle of the pack in the Champions Division. If you were to take a look at the rest of that bracket, at the top you've got the UCF Knights, you got OC Kettering University, University of Waterloo, and then UCF, and then Wayne State College. So we're looking at our number 3 and 6 currently, with 3 more matches to go in the books for both of these teams. They're pretty good shoe-ins for playoffs and ones that could look to get up into that top half of seedings. That's what they're really looking for. It's that number 4 seed at the very least that they really want, and every spot is a little bit more bonus as far as playoff seeding goes.
Yep, and going over the rosters of these two teams, we could start with Wayne State, and you can see these players that are on this team. And interesting to note about Wayne State, you said they were 3-3. 2 of their wins have been forfeits that they've played. Their one win is against Louisville Red. It was a 2-0, and interesting enough, that was also a win that Kettering State had, but that was a 2-1. So clearly Wayne State, they haven't had as much time to, let's say, practice or really show themselves off as much as Kettering State. But right now, they're at that 6th seed. They're at the cusp of the 4 seed that you mentioned. And in these final weeks, they really need to get that burst up to those final 4.
Yeah, it's going to be important for them coming up here. So every single match really counts for them. The stakes are going to be a little bit bigger for this roster right here. Over on the other side, at Kettering University, they do have the benefit of one of these same bye rounds, just like Wayne State does, but they have put up a little bit more impressive of a season so far. 5-2 is nothing to shake a stick at. And they might, beyond just looking for that number 4 or top 4 slots, they're looking to even try and pull themselves up and get one of these top couple slots. Only being a couple out of the top 2, that's really good for them. So they're looking to keep this up, and they really see Wayne State College as another win that they can pack in the books and make sure that they have the best playoff season coming.
Yes, with these two teams trying to find their place in the standings in those final couple of weeks, we need to talk about the maps. The maps are always going to be important with Rainbow Six Siege, how we're going to have the entire game be played. And so far, with the map pool that we have right here, it seems it's going to be pretty standard. Villa, Chalet, and Clubhouse as the decider. To me, this gives off that we're going to have a lot of roaming tonight. Treasure Villa with how big it is, and Chalet with just how varied it is in its floors.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clubhouse, while being a pretty box standard kind of map, has 3 floors, so there's a lot of space to be moving around and getting a little wiggy with it out on the roam for our defenders. But Villa is one definitely very famous for this kind of gameplay. This is probably 3 of the 4 most popular maps to play right now at this level of competition. The only one we're missing is Oregon, which is a big fan favorite. So these are maps that we know that these teams have been playing quite a lot throughout the semester. So they're going to be quite practiced at these, and of course it's Wayne State choosing Villa, and Chalet will be Kettering's Clubhouse decider, as always.
You know what I'm kind of sad about? That we don't see more Skyscraper. Have you played Skyscraper, casted it? It is it's
pretty fun,
an enjoyable map to cast, to play. I think it's just, it doesn't have much variation on the first floor, and teams don't know how to really attack it. I think that's just kind of the one, a couple things about it compared to a map like Villa or Chalet or Clubhouse. These maps have been in the pool, been in the game for, let's see, how long has it been since Operation Parabellum? Year
I can't even count that many. 4?
Maybe?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, Year Parabellum was actually, I think, the season after I started. So it has been a long time since then.
Yeah, so like Chalet's the one that's been reworked pretty recently, but didn't get much changes, and those changes are just ones that everyone has really liked. So it's worked its way up so far so quickly from a map that wasn't even in the competitive pool to one that is basically a mainstay of it, getting some of the most pro play as well. So it's just those like slightly weirder maps. I mean, you're looking at the 4 that are banned first, all have more unconventional play styles and can sometimes be a little more lateral on what you have to do to get into some objectives. Your favorite though, Skyscraper, I think it would go in that pile by my reckoning, but looks like it hung out there nearly to the end. We barely evaded it.
Almost. We almost got it to our center. Yeah, so keep it on like the whole maps thing. I don't know if you've had the honor of playing the Nighthaven Labs map, but that one was in talks to kind of make its way into the map pool, but with the new season, it didn't make it. And that really made me disappointed.
Yeah, I know Ubisoft said that they are interested in doing that, so we might be seeing that coming in some of our upcoming map pools. Maybe for that 23-24 season, we might be able to get a little bit more variety still into that map pool and shake some things up. There's always something new going on.
Yeah, and well, we've got some seasons going. I know that we have the Consulate rework coming out later this year, but we are going to go to a quick break. We're just figuring out some stuff with the game, so you don't hear us blabbering on forever. And once we get that figured out, we will be right back.
Oh,
guys? Welcome back. It's, what was that, 5 minutes?
10 seconds left.
Not
Yeah, a
long
nice
in the
little 5 minute
slightest. Yeah, we zoom right into another series that was not the teams we talked about. One map is already on, and we are in the middle of the second map. So, things are going great.
Yeah, bases are loaded. Louisville has one map under their belts. 3 rounds have gone over to University of Nebraska. Kearney, I believe it's pronounced, but I could be wrong. We're over here on Oregon. Previously, it was Villa. So this is where we're going to be keeping off from here and getting some early drone in, of course, as you're going to be needing to do to get everything started. Hopefully these teams are nice and warm as they were just a moment ago when they started out at the beginning of the map.
Yeah, well, with Louisville, we don't know how those first 3 rounds have gone, how one-sided or not one-sided they've been. All we know is that UNK have gone through that cycle that the defense does go through, and now they're allowed to go back to their first bomb site, which we know was that dorms area, and they can just have a good old time up on the dorms area. But with Maze already by Armory, this run could go pretty quick as that Kaid goes down. One of the 3 C4s has been taken off the board, and now somebody else, probably that Valkyrie all the way in the basement, is going to have to come back and assist with that.
Yeah, looks like Wall is going to be opened up here. With is a dangerous place to be playing right up in attic, right behind that doorway. There are 2 players for Louisville right around the corner, but Poozy has that shotgun in hand in the Mossberg. One of my favorite things in this entire game. Could wreak havoc if he doesn't get droned out. It's not going to see him, it doesn't look like. Oh, yeah, just over droning. He's got to make his move here in case it comes around. Gets that down, not quite the kill, and he's got to go back up to secure. That C4 could be enormous. Just finishes off that first kill.
Now, lucky for Icarus, didn't immediately go for the revive, but off screen, it is still Louisville. Even though they do lose their thermite, they have lost their gridlock. They are not being phased whatsoever. They still have that man advantage, and for the time being, there is only Coop in sight. It will be seen by that drone, and now they can really make their engagement onto the site. Icarus pushing into pit. We'll just try to wait until the rest of that Louisville attack can wait. Help out. As right now with UNK backing on up, you see Clam has joined their brethren inside of the site, and now they are going to have to be that one lone player to stop the attack from coming. Is the UNK streak going to stop right here, right now? Coop is a living drone, but there isn't much information that he can really give off in this current state. Diffuser is going down, and the C4 will be able to not get anything. It gets shot out, and that means that Icarus can continue to put that diffuser down. And Qualzy, oh man, that G36C has been singing in this round. It is Louisville who get 1 round.
That's exactly what they need to get back in this one. 3 rounds in a row is a bit painful, even if they are up that map. We're going to be moving on down to the basement for this next round. Quasi really shining there, especially towards the end. And UNK was having a problem just getting collapsed at every end and not really pushing up on any of the advantageous pieces of cover that they had. And of course, losing a couple of those gunfights just doesn't help.
Well, I mean, I don't. Maybe it's our perspective that it's like UNK. They just don't like being watched. They get performance anxiety, and now that we are viewing them, they're like, oh man, we're getting so nervous, and that's why Louisville was able to take that 1 round. But overall, I think the entry was definitely pretty good for them. We saw how easy it was to take Armory and just kind of move on forward through the site. And it's going to be a little bit different on basement. There's not a direct access to that floor. You have to fight for every single bit on that basement side. But overall, I think the roamers still have to make their presence a little bit more known if they do want to dedicate themselves offsite.
All right. Yeah, Kaid being brought here is going to... Oh, does that quite reach? Might have to move it, yeah, a little bit there. Going to be covering up the ceilings, making it a lot harder for Qualzy to have such a good time opening those up. Or I guess really it's going to be our Buck player, Maze, to be opening everything up on that side. There's some pretty deep roam from LNK for being all the way down in the basement.
It's kind of up to team preference. Like sometimes you can send everybody back to the site pretty quickly, try to get as much as you can, but Clam it is kind of a weird spot to be in on a basement side in the armory area. I think they are going to back off, or at least hang around for the time being. Shoot their gun maybe towards that armory window, but back off for the time being. Is so far the attack taking it slow, using their drones, and if Clam isn't accounted for, then I mean that is a nice little jackpot right around the corner.
Yeah, here's 3 players that we've seen already pretty focused on the bedroom side. Yep, looking to go down laundry and already losing one. So Clam is already getting some really good value and has to be rooted out. So this is going to be a big time waster. Maze has to open up as many side angles as he can. Not putting up any more drones, has no idea that he's hit any amount of flesh right there. Just has to hard peek these angles in interest of time. Okay. One last place to check is Clam going to be found. The shotgun comes around the corner, and that's exactly what Maze needed. Survives on 1 health.
If it works, it works. I think that's not a gunfight that you want to take 98% of the time, but like I said, if it works, it works. Aqua with a good little shot onto toe holster. That means that somebody will have to fill the void left by that Kaid, and because there are only 3 members left on the board for UNK, kind of spreading their numbers thin a little bit here, Trust. You can't look everywhere at once, and that is going to be evident by this pillar being held in just Mossberg. It hit sometimes, and in that engagement, it was not able to. Coop was part of the little sight hold last time, but still leaves that one player in the 1v3. Frag grenade being prepped is going to get thrown over, and well, it's not the frag grenade that deals the final blow. It is bullets of Qualsy for the 2nd time, so Louisville really getting into the swing of things now that we're starting to see our eyes on them.
Yeah, it looks like Louisville took some time to ruminate on those first 3 rounds, and they are finding the answers, and they're just having a great time out shooting their opponents. There's a couple peaks where they didn't quite get what they wanted, like we saw that corner peak just got the knee for 1 shot from Aqua, and he took a lot of damage in return. But his fellow players on the other sides of the map, Qualsy and especially our Buck player, really having a nice time. I mean, Maze just was able to walk in, really assert dominance through every gunfight that he took.
It kind of feels like it's what's happening a lot, at least in the runs that we've been able to see, is that a player has just entered in a certain part of the building, made it toward their destination, and not let anybody get in their way. There was Maze in that first run, Qualsy as well. Somebody has always got that very big opening kill for Louisville, and you can't really say the same for UNK. And Clam is trying to draw attention. They were able to get that onto Iggy, shut him down, but unfortunately couldn't get the same onto Maze, and that just meant that you could refocus their efforts onto the site. Looking to see a little bit more from Clam, especially with time. Like, you don't always need to get kills as a roamer. If you can just waste time utility, it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Clam still got plenty of value out of that. It's just back in the basement, the team wasn't able to hold up as well as they were hoping for. Clam once again looking to be this first point of offense, taking out a drone, but definitely giving away the location. And there are just more of these things to come. Looking for their location just right above. I don't even know if the drone has seen them though. Ooh. Does it do it? Yes, it does! Yeah, Clam opening pick again.
Wow, the vertical on that C4. It was either going
I thought it was coming back down.
I thought it was going straight back down, and it was going to either be the funniest clip I have seen in a long time or a beautiful C4 kill, just like we saw right there. Now it's acting off of that kill. That ZP is going to confirm that somebody's hanging around the stairs. And it is exactly Clam. Yeah, they had the information. They had everything they need. And Clam just wasn't aware of that. The second frag grenade is going to dink the cap can enough for the bullets of Maze to barely finish them off. And Maze is on a confidence tear right now. 6-0, and nobody can really stand in their way.
Ooh, One thing is going to stand in the team's way, though, and it's this Kaye Claw. They don't know where it is. They got to start shotgunning it out to try and find it, but they are doing great on time with both roamers already just completely eviscerated by Maze. I loved the way they threw that nade and just looked 90 degrees away. Like, I don't even care. I know whoever's in that stairway is dead, so I don't care. Smokes have to be popped over here in Trophy Room. Is going to try and slow down Maze and finally stop him. Toe Holster's over there, keeping his peak angle into Attic, and is actually going to be really impactful, I think, as this round goes on, because no one can get into objective without getting through him.
Oh, the V308, it does a good amount of damage, but it's not enough to put Quuz in the grave. Nobody is on this bulletproof camera, and Icarus is a little bit lucky for that. Coop and Quuz were in the exact same situation last time. Coop has been in the 1vx so many times, but hasn't been able to produce a kill. Is now the time. Hiding behind these bed areas could provide a great vantage point to assist this smoke, but hiding in the corner is Qualsy. Quuz doesn't have any more smoke grenades, so has to use their gun and only their gun in this scenario. Look at all of those gridlock drones covering the entire site, essentially. There's really nowhere for Coop to go, no impacts, nothing besides their own confidence and intuition. They're going to push forward behind the deployable shield, of which they get shot at. And Qualsy, even with their low health, they finish off the round for a third time, and we're tied up going into the second half.
Yes, suddenly this map is dead even. Louisville showing no sign of stopping. They're going to be swapping, though, and not stopping, but swapping over to the defense for this half. We'll see how that offensive supremacy in those last couple rounds is going to translate over back on the defense. They won't get to set the pace of the fight so much, and they can't guarantee that Maze is opening up fights like they were on attack. You kind of have to wait for the attackers, now UNK, to bring the fight to him.
Alright. Qualsy is Qualsy's 7-0. Maze is 6-1. That is, we don't know how they did the first 3 rounds, but even if you put 7-3 for Qualsy, which I'm assuming that they did get a certain amount of kills in those first 3 rounds, that is still majorly impressive for those two. And the question is, are they going to be able to produce that now that they're on the defense? You would expect that they would be able to, considering that the operators that they on hold that site. No real smoke, so you can't really ward off a lot of those players. But right now, Louisville is just winning through and through in the mechanical skill department.
Interesting to see Maze has actually gone with Bandit here, where we saw Kaid from UNK on the other side. It's going to be a little bit interesting. He's much easier to remove those off the walls from, and sometimes less resource intensive. Like we look at Attic, where you could really easily just use an assault rifle to remove both these batteries from below. Maybe they're going for the faster character with an even better gun. MP7 is phenomenal, but that is a little bit of a detriment to your team that you are taking that way. Already, there's an offensive split over here into Master's side, but they're taking their time and waiting to get some intel. Clam is going to spot out Maze well below. That's a good thing for the offense to know.
Nobody really pressuring Icarus over by Xenor. Maze. We're going to see Nomad all alone, though. He's going to fire through that wall and is met with a couple of bullets from the bandit himself, who does drop all the way to basement. And lucky for him, Poozy was waiting around the corner. So UNK, even though they've dedicated some drones, some utility, they still have yet to find those roamers. 2 mute jammers are nothing for an impact EMP. It blows that wall wide open, and now it's just going to be about taking out all these players. The C4 goes up, and it gets 2! And now it's all up to the players on that first floor trying to hunt out the roamers, and they are really starting to stretch themselves, and it's going to be a lot harder to deal with this site execution when they only have 3 players.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way Attic is going to get opened up from this point. They do have that hole in Master Bedroom, but they're going to have to rotate back over to get to it, and there is someone lurking down below. Qualsy gets another kill as well. Clam down for the count. It's just Quaz and Poozy Ooh, and neither of them is in a really powerful position to get into sight right now, let alone pick that diffuser back up. Puzi does get some more intel deeper into attic. I guess he has found his way in there, maybe from the roof instead, and Quaz is just looking to open up a gunfight. They need a pick to get anything going, but the 2v5 looks so dire.
The time is not on their side as well. Not together, don't have the diffuser. And there's so much coverage from Louisville. I think health is maybe the one thing that you could talk about. But it's still, just numbers is going to be the main thing. And just the jump in from Quaz is not successful in the slightest. So Puzi having some information from those Argus cameras. You can see them walking through. From Pit is able to find one in terms of quality. But going any further beyond this attic area is honestly a little bit of a death sentence. Treasure, you reload, you can do anything, but you're really not going to be able to do much else. 4 bodies are centered around this pit. There goes Aqua, and I was going to say save KD, but nope, Iggy ends it right there, right now with a kill.
Yeah, he gets to pick up those last 2 stragglers, putting together a 4th round in a row here for Louisville Black. They have really come into their own on this map. The first map was pretty close. It was a 7-5 in the end, not quite going to overtime, but definitely a nice showing from UNK. And this one there will at least have these 3 rounds to work with if everything goes absolutely wrong for them, but they have to find a new answer to make that not the case. A Nook is a pick that Puzi is going to be bringing here, someone who maybe is going to be pulling off that same role that he was using 0-4 last round.
Yeah, I mean, Zero has been used for flank cams, but Brava does provide that value that Zero can. Just you kind of flip the cameras of the enemy. So now default cameras are now your own flank cams, but I don't think it's really going to help you on Orkin. You could get that freezer cam, which could be pretty valuable, but it's really a one-time use thing. If somebody's playing in freezer, you're going to see the player shooting in freezer. That freezer player is going to see the camera. It really doesn't provide much value. However, if Quaz could hack a Valkyrie Black Eye, now we're really talking treasure. I have yet to see that so far in any of the Bravo play.
Yeah, I think that's the holy grail there, what you're looking for. But apart from your pretty default camera locations, it's kind of hard to find them, and the benefit you have is that once you have one of them hacked, a lot of times the teammates of the Valkyrie don't even know where these things have all ended up, so they're not looking for it, and they might not know its location if you ask them straight up where it is. So we'll see if that's going to give Quaz any real value here. Right off the bat, some pretty basic stuff from Ace sending the Rotero in, but there is a Mute Jammer to contend with. So I think that, yeah, Rotero is just gone and done for the count. And there's a lot of ADS, all 3 of them invested over here. And yet another Mute Jammer takes its victim. Quaz has found a kill right off the bat with this Para, taking Maze off of his power position on Pillar. And now the drones are going to just keep working. He's got to get rid of these Mute Jammers, but I think... Ow! The Rotero's gone to its location anyways. It should take out that shoot.
Alright, so information is also being provided by that clutch drone. The Mute Jammer is hacked, but it's really not going to do much. It should allow the Rotero to break the shield, but honestly, at this point, you've got information that nobody's hiding behind Pillar. The clutch drone is going to double down on that Jaeger being inside of side. I think they were just trying to see if they could get anything more with the clutch drone, but nope. Louisville holding inside of that side, not really wanting to play by. Blue has reinforced the bunker area. Aqua going down does not really reinforce Louisville in this site. They don't have a lot of control over this area, and Quaz knows that. Going inside, shooting down that smoke. It's a triple kill for them on this round. Iggy and Icarus have to try and stop this diffuser, but the map control that they have isn't really going to allow that. Now, with 50 seconds left, no! A C4 by Iggy does stop that, and things have changed. Treasure, a 1v2. Puzi takes a lot of damage, but unfortunately for Icarus, just was not ready for that Bravo around the corner, and look, UNK Esports has found a way to bounce back.
Hey, it's the Quaz show. Willing to just take it down. Big tower opens up the ability for the Rotero drone to go off, gets the opening pick, gets the second pick off of the Smoke, who's been pushed out of location, and now he's in objective. Even if the plant's not going to go down, if everyone's just going to walk through Quaz, they will absolutely take that win all the way to the bank. they're going to have to attack this basement yet again, and I don't think that same thing's going to work again, though. There's no way Louisville just allows Quoz to waltz down the big tower.
I think it's a problem both teams were having on the defense, or at least that's what it seems like. Louisville just kind of allowed. I know they're going back to this basement side. We'll see if that's the case. Don't have a Valkyrie anymore. It is going to be a Solus, which will for sure help with the Roteros, help with the clutch drones, but that is not going to happen on the side of UNK. We're seeing a Brava get swapped to, but so far there's not a lot of dedication to electronics. The Nook, I mean, technically Solus is a Nook counter, but it's kind of one of the things where you have to be in the right area at the right time. And overall, Nook is really going to use that gadget close to the site.
Well, this is exactly where Poozy's been going on the basement attacks. Actually going to take out Poozy's drone right there, which Poozy should take as a message that there's going to be danger this way. We'll see what he does to play around that. Last round, he was going kind of slow. Didn't get to sight until it really wasn't impactful enough. So hopefully he makes that adjustment to go faster, but without being too careless and falling right into Solus's clutches right upstairs above him. So maybe it's less of a faded matchup here. Fingers has moved slightly further away upstairs.
Specchio looking out.
We're definitely gonna find someone in the lobby.
Yeah, bringing out that Specchio. There isn't a drone to spot, but so far no drones have spotted Icarus. Let's see if that's the case for long. They do spot the drone inside of Meeting Hall, are going to act on it, but the shots are going to locate themselves, or at least tell UNK that, hey, somebody is on that second floor, even if they don't have the exact position. And now the air jabs are being dedicated specifically to deal with the Solus. Impacts are going to be a big counter to that, so if the impact play is good, and I think then, well, the air jabs aren't really going to mean much in the end.
Yeah, and he does have the ability to know that they're coming before, have to push up on them. Iggy down zone has been really effective in these mid-round gunfights. It will be rezzed back up, but flank opportunities are going to be scant over here on Big Tower, and there's no way Quoz is making his way down that hall this time. Maze is fully flanked out into blue, and I think there's an attacker actually coming out as well to come by that location, so it might be... Yeah, he's just put himself right in the line of fire for Quoz right outside this door, as I was expecting. On the other side, though, we've made much better time on Poozy. He's already down in Freezer, and he's gotten his kill. Yeah, walls he removed. There's no more player over here, and he can, pick up the kill through the door, as well as pincer with his teammates. Icarus has finally made that flank down through Freezer, but his location is well known as the attackers make their way into objective. Finally getting to put down this diffuser. I don't think there's any C4s coming his way. Oh, no, just right around the corner for Icarus. And he's got a great view on the diffuser now.
1v5 turned into a 1v2. Icarus has good health, but doesn't have good range with the P90. If he can hit headshots, but actually was blocked by the holding of the actual site itself. And unfortunate that what could have been an amazing play just kind of got stopped short of pure greatness. And now UNK have taken the lead. It seems like the defense is a little bit of a struggle for both of these teams. They can't exactly hit the ball running, so to speak, especially Louisville on that defensive side. Things can change when it comes to that Kids Dorms. I know they had a much better hold, but overall, UNK... I think a lot of it comes down to just how they attack. They looked much better on the basement side. They didn't really have that cohesion on the second floor like they did on the basement. Overall, I think they could really start to connect things, but if Louisville does win this, makes it a 5v5, can kind of throw things up in the air.
The Lopers play pretty split from each other. Last round basically was done nearly single-handedly. Like, he doesn't get all the kills, but he's busted open the site. It's Poozy coming down through Freezer, absolutely finding everything that we were wanting from him in that play, and then Quoz was there to pick up the rest of it, pinching in from Bunker, and from there they just had to deal with that flank from Icarus, which wasn't the worst. He got a lot of mileage off of the play, but the being split is a little bit to their detriment in that way, but it's exactly what's given them their round victories in these last two ones. Quoz and Poozy taking turns just pushing the dagger in at these undefended parts of the site that Louisville has.
Aqua does hear that window being broken, and there isn't information that the player is exactly hiding behind the box. Aqua does emerge from their position, but just a little bit too early or late, depending on how you look at it, to find the kill. They back off inside of the dorms, and what could have been potential kill ends up being one that was missed in the end. Koz has to know that somebody is around there. They're looking in Z, looking in Classroom, and Maze is just around the corner. Hasn't been able to do much, especially when we went on that basement side, but they could get something huge. Shutting down Koz, shutting down the frag grenades, but it is the silence that is very deafening for this Yana. Walking by Classroom. Maze should spring any second now. There it is. Koz goes down, and now one of the leading top fraggers for UNK is off the board, and potentially one right around the corner.
Yeah, it's going to hurt. The refrag is not hot enough on the heels to take down Maze, even though he's dawdled for a while right there. He does take some damage, about 25 of it. On this life, but he gets out pretty easily on this one. Osa shield coming in, and it's gonna make it pretty easy to push up. Gonna need another player though behind her in order to make that get the most mileage. Ooh, no, once again here, Quality not doing a great job of watching through Attic for playing a shield pretty much intended for Attic, so another life has been lost in that pit, which is pretty unfortunate, and it leaves Iki very exposed now.
That Osa shield is going to be pushed up, but it doesn't have coverage from every angle, and Aqua can exploit that. Maze is trying to provide covering fire as the C4 for McGee explodes to find nothing. Toll holsters cannot take the shrapnel from a C4 or the stray firing of a bullet. They go down, but can they get revived? There isn't a lot of space for the Lopers to work with, but there is enough for Poozy to get it. Clam finds two, can't get the third, but does a great deal of damage to this bandit, who shuts down Poozy, is allowed to reload, and now it's a 1v1 to put UNK on map point. Sneaking through the rotate is this gridlock, and Maze is going to fire. It takes one bullet to put this player in the ground. Tensions are high. The timer is ticking, and Maze is going to use exactly that to his advantage. Force Toll Hostlers to plant. Get the diffuser, which they do not have. And now time is this great enemy to UNK. It ticks all the way down, and Louisville ties us up, but they do have to go all the way down to the basement again if they truly want it.
Yeah, and this is where they've been having some issues. So we'll see if they actually... Okay, it looks like they're looking at it. Pretty unlikely to go first floor site, but it could be a move since they've been having a hard time defending that basement. They haven't successfully done it once of these 2 rounds. But they also have located where they're really going to need to be watching out from the attack. It's Big Tower and it's Freezer. Hugely, and you need to get as much mileage out of Icarus on the roam as you can. They've gotten a lot of time with him, but he's going to find those flanks a little bit earlier. That way the site isn't gone by the time he's really gotten into the play.
What do you think is the problem for Louisville? Like, especially on this side, they seem to be struggling in both of the rounds, having to rely on a very improbable 1vx, but then you go up to the second floor and things just seem so much better. Is it the just geometry of the site? Is it how they're spreading out the roamers? What piques your interest?
Yeah, I think the anchors are playing a little too aggressively. They're taking more actual peak fights than they need to. There's a lot of comfortable positions to just hold pretty deep into the round, especially if you're like some of these characters like Mute and Smoke. Nice. That's a great start off the bat for the defense. Iggy, of course, has been going with the MP5K, but you do, I mean, well, that's great also. Holding angles, huge fire rate, and just good damage output. You can hold those angles really well. But you also have the shotgun as an option if they were to take that instead, which makes it really easy. But they're just over-peaking, pushing up more. Maze was the opening death last round because he walked all the way out into blue in like the first minute and a half of the round. And that's still pretty early for being out there when that's a primary attacking spot for a lot of teams.
A drone's been spotted. Icarus sees it, doesn't really move, but knows that they're potentially being watched if they enter the armory hallway. There is 2 players up on that second floor who sooner or later have to make their way into the site, as there is only one player inside of the site with that little trade between UNK and Louisville. Icarus does spot the air jab, is going to communicate that to Maze, which does not have an impact. It is going to try to get shot. Maze knows that if it is there, it is now gone. With Aqua doing a great job of covering inside of the site, there goes the one player hiding inside of Classroom. With Toa Holsters walking by E-Box, walking by Pillar, trying to complete the 1v3. They had a chance at a 1v1, weren't able to get it, but unfortunately for them, the odds are stacked against them. The good news is, there's a lot of time. They have drones, they have a decent gun to work with the F90, and they've got a thing to cover their flank, which they use right there, but things are looking dire for Gridlock, but Icarus runs at the wrong time, and that could spell disaster for Louisville.
I do not think Louisville had any clue where Toe Holsters was until just now. Once that kill has been picked up, there's a nice angle to be holding. Yeah, there we go. Maze picks up yet another one to finish out this round, looking pretty good. But I think once again we saw that problem from Louisville, where they're losing deaths on some angles that are pretty forward positions. One death in E-Box, and one from the door right next to E-Box as well, right into blue bunker. In the first, like, I don't know, as soon as anyone peeked into bunker, both those deaths went down. So that's not where you want to be losing those operators, especially since they're ones that give more value as the round goes on. And I get you can stare down blue bunker door and get a lot of pressure there, but you don't really need to be peeking. You don't even really need to be firing bullets at your opponent. You can leave them outside your view and just tell your opponents that you're there by shooting near the doorway. There's bullets there. They're gonna have to take their time as if you are there, and you don't need to be putting yourself at risk like the Louisville defenders have been. That's two picks that you really can't afford to lose so early.
Sometimes you just it's a momentary lapse in awareness, judgment, and that can be the killer. Because now this puts Louisville on match point. And even if they don't have a good time on dining, we go to overtime. Their chances, compared to what we've seen overall this entire map, look really good going into overtime. If they go on defense, they get to start on kids. They do really good on that side. And on their attack, they looked unstoppable in those latter 3 rounds, the ones we actually were able to see. So, honestly, UNK right now, things are looking a little bit dire, but they have the chance to turn this around, take it to overtime, and right now that is the only option considering the scoreline we are at.
Yep, that's exactly what they need. They are swarming all over small tower. And drone's already going in through bedroom. Yeah, there's the thermite trick going off as well. It's going to make it very hard to hold in dining room, and with the location of Quality already seen in bathroom, it's a matter of time before this gets locked down. He's taking the shots with his sniper rifle of a shotgun out the window all the way there, but still no more blood found on this side of the map. Ooh, finally Clem finds Quality.
Sometimes you just get a little over-eager to peek, hope that you get a nice lucky shot, and in that case, it was not so. Iggy pushing up with the UMP, angling themselves towards that shower site, does have the coverage from the cast barricade, but a great shot from Maze onto Coop. A snappy little flick there, and now there are not Talon shields to work with. There's no coverage from the plants besides the smokes that Quoz has in their pocket, but most importantly, Maze is still here, and Maze is still lurking, but they're going to have to take down this diffuser. Iggy fires with the UMP, but is taken aback by the bullets that are fired at them. It's a 4v4. Footing is equal, but Lopers clearly have the advantage here with the timer, with the map control, and something is going to have to happen on the Louisville side, and it is not Treasure.
This is a tough pill to swallow here. Yep, Maze shut down by Boozy there in the end. Holzer's taken 2 kills, so one, I think Aqua even missed seeing him on his screen there for a moment in the chaos of everything going down, and that Osa shield that was pretty pivotal to the attacking strategy that UNK was showing us. They didn't even need it with how dominant they were coming in for that small tower take. Louisville need to respond a little bit sooner, and that's going to cost them that match point. We're going to overtime now as Lopers try to bring this one to map 3. That's what they need to stay in this series. They have to win this this best of 3 that we get, but they're taking a bit of a timeout, or Louisville is, before we get into those rounds.
And honestly, it's a decent time for Louisville to call their timeout. They get to start in the defense. They get to announce like what they want to everybody. Take these 60 seconds. I am 90% sure they will be starting on that Kid Storms area, because why would you not? I mean, it's been a real slaughter both times they went to when they took Lopers to it. So it's all going to come down to that second round of overtime, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what we'll really see. It'll be the swing round where we determine what exactly is going to go down. And of course, one way is the map is over, and the other way is we get one more. But I think that really shows exactly what everyone's got to bear.
I think though, if Lopers win a round, especially even if they win the first round or the second round, I think they win this map. Like I think that is how it is, because Louisville will either have to go to Kids Dorms, which they in this case would not win, or go to the Mason side, which they look uncomfortable on. Either way, Lopers really do come out kings in the end.
Yeah, interestingly, these have been 3-3 halves, both, which means that it's not really that heavily oriented towards defense or attack on this last 3 up to 3 rounds that we could be having. So it really comes down to that rotation on which objectives they get to go in the third round. Right off the bat, Louisville is a lot closer to site. They suffered a lot last round because... Ooh, spawn peek? Because there was only one player in site or a room peripheral to site. There's no one touching a room that touched site. So as soon as that first pick was taken, Louisville needed to sprint back to objective. That's why they lost the round. They didn't have anyone close. They're getting so aggressive on this round, though. Already like 3 peaks. May's taken quite a bit of his HP for it, and he doesn't get what he wanted.
Mays, do not stop being crazy like that. As long as you don't get punished for it, I mean, why not keep doing it? It is a thorn in the Lopers' side when you go unchecked. But so far, Mays doesn't find a single bit of damage there. And as long as that keeps happening, the attack should be on better terms with the attack. Puzi breaking open this door. Do they know that Maze is basically ready to kill them? Clearly not. That takes down your 0, takes down a good bit of flank watch. You still have that gridlock to cover it with the track stingers, but Maze has struck and most likely will strike again.
Yeah, Puzi was spending a lot of time on drone there, drone ahead of teammates maybe, or just clearing out a lot of space for themselves, but that data was old. It took a while for Maze to get back there and find his first kill. The attack is looking really nice overall from the other sides of this objective, though. Oh, but Aqua's going to shut down Quos, and suddenly one of these big angles into objective is just gone. Tool holsters making good on this line of sight that he's been holding for a while, and the defense is looking so scant on health.
Yeah, a couple bullets at all would put 2 members in the ground. But there's still a lot of utility for the defense to work with. They've got shields. They've got a C4 in the pocket of Aqua. And Coop can't really take this fight either. They are not looking so green as well. But maybe the dual coverage from the defense will help. There's a player by big window, and now 2 players inside of Trophy. Qualsy gets shot with a Zofia impact nade from behind. The shield goes down, but Icarus covering the big window is big. Aqua gets 1, can't get the second, but Icarus finds that gridlock player by the big window, and the black eye camera will be shut. There's no more information from the defense. Icarus, inside of Kids Dorms, might hear that diffuser going down and does take that opportunity to push up a little bit more inside of that Kids site. They go towards the door area, but where is Clam? Clam is by the reinforcement going to the rotate. Is there going to be coverage from Icarus? Rotates over towards the main area. Shots are there. Can they hit it? It's prone. Clam is prone, and Icarus just isn't quick enough to find the shots on that Zofia of Clam, who has now rotated all the way over to Attic. Z-Ping's coming on through, but it's just not enough. And UNK, they win a Kids Dorm site and can look to the next round with a lot of hope in their eyes.
That is huge, finally cracking the nut that is Louisville's second floor hold, and it's nearly entirely on the back of Clam playing out of their mind. They did have the benefit of gridlock track stingers already being down. That did limit one of those rotate opportunities for his opponent. Ooh, we get the other timeout now off the back of their own victory, interestingly enough. But if they can plan just right for this final round, they can stab that dagger all the way into Louisville, take this one to map 3. But Clam playing absolutely out of their mind, gets the plant and the 4K. And even once having their position sold, lying down behind the pool table, no door open, there's no rotates to make, and just moves quickly immediately as soon as getting attacked, and pulls off to a different angle, getting all the way to attic. It was just great calls at every moment available, and putting the plant down. I cannot praise that one enough, because so many players will not put the plant down when they have the opportunity to. Your opponent doesn't know your exact location. That's the only time you're going to be able to do it, and it gives you so much more leverage in the 1v1.
It changes the probability of the round entirely. And, well, the plant really did it right there for Lopers. They haven't won a lot of 1vx's tonight, but Louisville, they are going to have to come back. Now, last time they were down 0-3 at the start of this map, did not lose a single attack from then on. Now we're at overtime. Round 14. With Kids Dorms sights Louisville on their attack, looking to go all the way to max OT and take the 2-0 victory.
Yeah, if they can just make 2 more rounds, they can dust their hands of this whole affair, make sure that they get out on top. I don't know if we mentioned before, but University of Louisville Black is the team that is a little bit more favored here, but it's very close. This is an impactful qualifying round for playoffs. University of Louisville Black is 5-1, while University of Nebraska Kearney is 4-1, just right next to each other on count for their matches.
Oh my, Clam, the boldness. They drop Qualzy, injure them. She would be able to get revived, but the trade there, taking down 80 to 90 health from one of the hard breach versus maybe 10 without Rook armor, that is a trade you will always take.
Yeah, that is actually humongous, and it takes some time from these players who both are very keen to start droning through lobby, and they have to drone extra carefully because they know that Clam could be anywhere there, especially in the classroom area, and Maze of all people knows that that is a place you can get so much value from. Clam continuing on this crazy tear on the opposite side of the map, where he just got that down, gets a C4 kill as soon as Icarus tries to get in, and Icarus is another one of those power players, someone who can get a lot of value out of fragging. This is a huge start for LNK, or UNK.
There's not a lot of coverage now. Those track stingers going to have to do a lot of the work. Drones are going to have to do a lot of the work, but no drone is really covering where Puzy is. Blatantly watching that door. Nobody on Louisville is watching him, and if they aren't careful, they will be the victim of another death. With that, just at this point, you cannot take that. But Aqua inside of lobby is freely gonna sprint, and no chance they win that. They were not prepared in the slightest, and things are just continuing to get worse and worse for Louisville the longer this round goes on.
Maze has to push up, try and find something off the bat. No more standard drones left, but the track stingers are going to lock up this angle where Puzy could be pushing back up. He's going to have to give away his location pretty soundly if he's going to remove all of the stingers that are now in his way, while Louisville is free to move as they choose up and down the stairs. I think that fight has re-emerged, but no kill off the bat. Oh my god, and now there it is! Qualzy down again, 3 already. Puzy and Clam just taking Louisville apart, and they're so hard to find right now. The free fire isn't going to find Puzy, but the second burst does. Maze has found that first opening frag for his team.
Maze is going to have to go nuclear. Like, we've seen him go crazy. He would have to get a 1v5 ace in 30 seconds to keep Louisville in the running for this map. Otherwise, it is going to be a map 3 decider. One goes down. It's now 1v3, a little bit more possible. They roll all the way over to this walk-in area, should hop in. No, they can't hop in. The Selmas don't create a big enough hole, and now blatantly walking in through that door. They find one, but the health is going to be the true killer. Great comeback from UNK, and they send us to a map 3.
And such a confident final round right there. They looked better as they went on. They had 3 rounds before we started watching, and they had a hard time at the rest of that defending half, but they absolutely showed us that they deserved this map win by the end there. Really nice showing, and they get to take this one all the way map 3, which is pretty nice for us. That means that we get to see a proper 2 maps at the very least of this one, and we'll be back with it in just a couple minutes after a break to see how this one finally ends.
And welcome back to NECC. We are on map 3. I feel like we kind of hopped ourselves right in the middle of this map. We got to see the second half, or like the 3/4 of that second map, and now we get a true full map to that treasure. We haven't got that at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. I actually don't know where we're going. It's going to be really exciting. It'll be a surprise objective.
I don't either.
So I'm not sure really what to say as far as where it'll go for how they're each going to be going. And I'm conjuring from the ether Clubhouse. So we'll be going to Clubhouse. That'll be kind of interesting. Actually pretty similar across the board between the Villa, Oregon, and Clubhouse. That's kind of a trend towards these I guess in my brain they're boxier objectives.
Yeah.
They feel like the three most similar maps in the game. And I think they'll be pretty interesting how it plays with how these both teams are. I would say that Louisville and UNK are both very roam heavy, really using a couple players who are very high impact and will determine how the round goes off the bat on the first like 45 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you got like Maze on Louisville. You had Clam, I think it was, on
Absolutely.
the Lopers as well. You're going to see very big emphasis on that style of play. We'll see if it's those two specifically or anybody else kind of doing the job in the end. With Louisville starting on the attack, the Lopers starting on the defense. We'll see how this all shakes out. It was 3-3 split on Oregon. And now as we head into Clubhouse, I think whoever kind of gets that lead, that jump out, might start to momentum steamroll their way to a victory.
All right, once again, we're seeing the same attacker bans, Thatcher and Maverick, removed from the count. Makes quite a bit of sense. They do give you a lot of ease in getting into some of these pivotal objectives, especially Jacuzzi Wall and server wall. What's the word for it? You know the one by
CC wall?
CC, there we go. CCTV. Thank you much. Zombie as well, doing the same thing, and she really does shine over by Garage as well. Mira, not a very scary one. I think that's the same operator bands, yeah, across the board as we saw last map. So our lines will be looking pretty similarly. Although a lot of that very hard breach-oriented stuff might not be too impactful. There's still plenty of operators on the board that can open up CC and Jacuzzi with ease.
Yeah, a Maverick ban in this day and age, in this meta, does not make sense. Like, you most likely will ban Kaid most of the time. He is not banned this time. And usually he should be banned. When a Maverick is banned, usually you have to take out a Kaid. That's kind of how it's always been. But things might have changed with impact EMPs. If you can locate where that Electroclaw is, maybe with a drone, maybe with an IQ, then you just get that impact EMP out, throw it down, and that hatch is easy to get as ever. Even the walls, you just use your drone, maybe get an IQ, and you see everything, see all the Electroclaws, impact EMP it. It's easy as pie.
It does add a lot more value back to IQ, a character that had been kind of lacking on it, with the impact DMPs needing a close range and Kaid still being up here. I don't think it's going to be used, though. I don't anticipate it with what we've been seeing for both of these teams. So it'll be a little bit of a, what is their solution to Kaid? Not the most impactful on this site. You still have a lot of line of sight into objective, such as the windows and dropping into hallway behind bedroom, that could give Louisville some more avenues for opening up their early picks, or even just coming over here through this extension that Quaz is kind of holding.
Maze entering the building already. It's usually how Maze has kind of done this the entire time, is enter the building early and move towards the site. Everything else is just a little bit of a distraction. And if he does go towards that bathroom bar area, the first person that he will encounter will be Toe Holsters. See if an engagement happens there. So far, it is a gym take, trying to get that wall open, and it will be open, even though the left wall was attempted to be tricked, and now it is just going to be that hallway take. How long will Coop be able to stay in the bathroom?
That's a good question. There's gridlock tracks in front of him. There's, I guess, the shower behind him for some hard cover. That's not going to do a lot. Icarus has been sending in... Okay. Didn't check down below before sending out the first Rotera, so unfortunately it is wasted. But the drones are going to have a lot more to say about what logistics is looking like for the attackers.
Maze has made his presence known, takes out toll hosters, and now does move towards that bathroom area and preps a frag grenade. Coop accepted his fate. He knew that he's got a small chance of living because he has that Rook armor. He will be able to self-revive. That is why you bring Rook. Sometimes, does Louisville know that Rook is in play? Coop has been revived. Icarus does look towards that bathroom area, but it's not with a lot of intensity. There goes your alibi. Is that Kaid going to peek? Instead, it is going to be that mute as bodies trade back and forth. Clam on about 20 HP is going to have to stop this attack. The C4 blows open Aqua, the player, not the coastline area, and with 2 players remaining and a lot of time to work with, you can get information, really secure your spot here.
Yeah, there we go. That's what's going to be really important for Quality here, is putting down the plant. Oh, he is going to be able to hear that go down. He's not fast enough in removing himself from the situation at 3K now for Clam, who has just done everything to take this site back from the attackers. Ooh, but does miss the shots he needs against Iggy, someone with 3 armor to his name. Yeah, extended gunfight is not going to be good for Clam. Even if he's got that Rook armor of that F9, he's going to tear him apart down on like 20 health. The attackers finally get this one a lot closer by the end than what we expected with how fast everyone got into sight.
Well, it was a good hold from defense, honestly, even with Maze kind of doing what Maze does, getting that frag grenade. Rook did make a difference a lot of times. I think that was the reason that we saw Coop still alive by the air. Not Coop. Why am I blanking? Clam. Sorry, it was Clam. Clam, who was still alive because of the Rook armor. Coop was able to self-revive. They're not bringing the Rook this time, despite how important it was. Instead, they're relying a little bit more on utility denial, information with somebody like the Alibi and the Valkyrie. And that makes sense on this CCTV hold with when you get into the late round, information is really everything you want, because knowing the exact location when you get into those really late game firefights, that will be the difference between winning and losing.
I have loved the way that, especially UNK, but also Louisville, have used their Valkyries. And like you're saying, late round intel has decided several objectives throughout the time that we've just been watching this match go on. Like, keep an eye out for those yellow Z pings, especially when we get deep into matches. Whenever we see a 1v1, usually the person who's won a 1v1 has had Valkyrie cams on their side so far. So Clam is impactful not just on the ground as a boots on the ground gunner, but also by giving that utility and allowing his teammates to have a big say in his gunfights as well.
Well, so you're taking a bit of damage with that electronics. And where is that Kaid Electroclaw? It's a question I'm asking, and it's definitely a question the attack are wondering. I think it could be by the TVs. Is it underneath? Honestly, we don't even need to know the answer to that question. All we know is there is no way that Louisville is getting easy access to this wall, and they're going to have to find another avenue of entrance. Oh, Aqua barely misses what could have been a great opener by a player hopping through that rafters window, but the opportunity has passed them by, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dolls just moved all the way back towards construction, but Qualzy can pick up a kill regardless out here in lobby. Now, this unknown figure slinking through garage. There's not a player up there to contest anymore, so he's just going to be able to take it for pretty much free and then watch over towards Red. Could be really impactful while more players move their way up. Red taking out the Valkyrie cam we saw get placed earlier. UNK is just hold up in sight. They're not really pushing up on any angles, just waiting for the attack to come to them. And it's going to be fatal right off the bat for Clam. Coop does find that clap back on Icarus, though, but it's not what they need to stop that attack.
Giving up Rafters this early, I think it's a death blow. You can't give up such a pivotal part of the site just like that. Close is going to attempt for the retake. 1 out of 2 players able to find one, and now they're on that flank, and that is where they will eternally remain. Site is given up to the attack. There's no information. They can't C4. They can Bailiff try to shoot out default, but it wouldn't matter because that's not where the plant is. Going up over red stairs. Is there any knowledge that that's where that alibi could be? Iggy is looking over there, shooting over there, taking out that alibi. It's another round for Louisville, and it's starting to look like that first map. But where will it stop? Where will the Lokers finally put their foot in the door?
All right, here's my conspiracy board. Giving away Rafters, moving out of garage, while kind of deserved was for Aqua to get a kill right there. Doesn't end up getting the kill, so that's fine. But even worse than just the one kill is this allows now for Nook to come up through Rafters, which enables other players to push up red pretty much without any concern for it, since there wasn't someone watching the top of red stairs. So we've got attackers watching 180 across from each other so that they know that they're safe on garage window and the top of red stairs. You don't even really have to deal with anyone out in construction at that point, because you can just lock up that angle and move a player right along that, right through red. There's a protected hard wall made out of bricks right there to get into your plant position. And then you've just given a phenomenal place to plant and have plant overwatch, which is what Louisville ended up doing right there. So this was a cascade of get a player into garage, makes it free for getting a player up into red, makes it free for getting the plant, makes it free to get the round.
It's a lot of small things that end up piling up to the end result. I mean, that's kind of what Siege is, that you make these macro decisions, like what operators are you going to play, where are you going to place this utility, and then the round itself is a lot of micro decisions. How are you going to rotate? Are you going to choose to use this secondary utility or your primary utility, if it's active utility, right here? Everything is just a lot of decisions and mini-games, some would call them, all leading up to whatever the end of the round is. Icarus is not hesitating with this dirt play. They've already shot open the door. They're droning out the entrance, clearly alerting the Lopers to where this attack could be coming from, maybe diverting resources away from any other attack, but Icarus needs to be careful to not get caught out so early. They already flirt with death, but still alive so far.
Getting so early into dirt is kind of nice. You have this guaranteed avenue, especially if you need to rotate later. Ooh, but it's hard to get much more resources than you're putting in. You have one player who is stuck there if you're going to keep like Kuzi's attention over watching you. Ooh. Uh-oh. Well, we'll come back to that. There's some stuff going down upstairs, and Quo's all the way out in... Yeah, Strip Club is going to be coming back in and dealing with Maze here pretty soon. He has to, in order to just get back into sight, or otherwise these two are going to have a staring contest across 3 rooms.
Well, there is track stingers you could deploy, maybe put a flank drone, but if you're going to try to deal with Quodes, you have to do it now. Probably in the next 15 seconds, because otherwise he is going to drain so much time and utility away from the actual push, and that cannot happen. I think they are going to try to go for the passive approach, put down their utility, put down a drone, because we are seeing Maze try to open those hatches. They're realizing that, yeah, the timer is starting to work against them, but Quoz is still alive. Hasn't been dealt with, and now more Louisville bodies are starting to fall. There goes your 0 inside of dirt, and now a lot of pressure from multiple sides has been taken away, and Quoz has returned, taken one to the grave with him, and unfortunately, Gridlock being that 3-speed isn't going to be able to keep her alive for much longer. 1v2. Maze drops down into Memo Hatch, but there's so much defensive utility stopping them from getting that feature down, getting these 2 players that are still alive, and there's not a lot of mag size. inside of that Type 89, pushing into Memo, and with single digits left on the clock, yeah, you could try to go for the defuse. That's what Maze will do, but there's so much time left on the clock that the Lopers can casually walk over, and there it is.
Yep, there we go. Those huge opening picks. Quells was able to drain those 15 seconds that you were talking about and not get cleared, and still took more time as everyone had to come back and figure out what was going on in the backline after he got a kill. So he got basically all the value you could ever want out of a roamer without just acing the team. And in addition, Icarus finally needing to push up and try and find something over there by the AK rack. He just has to peek in order to get anything going, especially if his team's taking a while. And not finding a kill that time, that already puts you down 3 players. And at that point, it was just Loper's round to lose. It was Maze on the board still, and he is an X factor if we've ever seen one. But it just wasn't to be at that point. He had run out of too much time.
Yeah. And time is the real killer in, like, everything. You think about what Maze could be able to do with more time, how a lot of attacks in just general, not even in this match, are killed by lack of time management, and they have to rush at the last second. It's kind of the sixth man that everybody forgets about on the defense, and if you don't worry about it, you worry about other stuff, and sometimes you just take a little bit too long with things, it will be your sole reason for destruction.
Another really aggressive peek from Quos. He's going to be happy to play Strip Club like this so aggressively, especially after it really rewarded him last time. I think he's just getting the drone for it this time, and no one else is coming over here, except for Iggy's drone. But that's just going to be a pickup, and we're going to be done on this.
Shooting through the floor. You can't let the Rovers roam. We saw what happened when Quos just was thought about and then forgotten about in the end. It seems that they are going to go for that sole dedication of, okay, we'll take care of Quos, push him back to the site, and then worry about everything else. Yeah, there's a lot of people around the site. Just about choosing your resources wisely and where you want to put them.
Yeah, I think it's just fine to ignore Quos at this point. Strip Club isn't nearly as pivotal for this objective as the last one. So instead, it's sort of a top-down take, getting more directly to objective. I'm not sure if someone's going for logistics like they were before, but once again, Jacuzzi wall has been opened pretty quickly. No hassle there. If Louisville's going to get as many kills off of that wall being open as they did in round 1, they're going to be very happy. May starting off with the first one, and he's already lying down. Yeah, in gym. This is going exactly the way that Louisville wants to. Pretty much a mirror of the last round.
I was going to say, I don't think you can get the angle with that, and now that should be an indicator that an attacker is playing close. Maze doesn't win that fight. A little unconventional for them, but there are refrags to lessen the impact of that wound. Clam goes down and Toll Hosters, and with Coop getting below that 50 HP, they're around 60. But the one person that is probably going to make the difference in this scenario is Quos, still in bar, about to engage a player by the bathrooms area. We've got Icarus inside of logistics and on construction, and one outside of the site. There goes Poozy, or more going to follow on the Lopers. There's patience coming from the attack, and that is what is needed in this scenario, but they need calculated patience, push together, work with each other, and that's exactly what they do. Leave Quos in the 1v3. They have the time to plant, and Quos getting on the bed is the perfect choice here with that Soulless.
Yeah, that's nice. They know that there could be explosives below, and that is going to keep Qualsy up and get that diffuser down. Player up on top of stairs is going to be the perfect check to, a player pulling up, but he's turned away, turned a blind eye. The Yellow Pings have come out for the defense, and now he's going to actually, have the upper hand on this one, gets the down, can move on to the next player, and doesn't quite fell him. Somehow Quos gets out of there, still on low health, but there's a player over here in logistics that now has to be cleared. And one outside, and that's going to be the real linchpin in this whole effort. Quos being able to jump out and actually take out Qualsy would be absolutely a Herculean effort. Just as long as no one peeks, though, this one should just be over. Yep, there we go. Iggy finishes this one out. Some great tandem efforts from the attackers to root out those last 2 and then 3rd defender.
There's 2 more rounds for Louisville to, I think, get 1 more. A 4-2 for them, they would be sipping on easy stream, basically. And there's still a good chance they get a 5-1 as well. It's with CCTV in play, how the Lopers play Rafters is going to be all-encompassing. They need to hold it, not give it up, not trade bodies for it early in the round. It is a crucial part of the site. And if the same darn thing happens than the last time we went to this site, it's so easy for Louisville to take it.
So Toe Holsters right off the bat taking, we've spent a lot of time paying attention to Garage already. Toe Holsters is playing well, my great character for keeping up that pressure in Garage, putting up reinforcements, especially on this far Garage wall as he is pretty pivotal. Makes it easy to funnel the attackers and make sure that they're not getting a great line of sight from outside into the CC window, which is an important rotate hole, especially once you have to leave Raptors if you're leaving it alive, and One Might with his replenishing grenades can keep making sure that he can't get naded out, which is the best way of dealing with a player in Raptors, although Louisville hasn't shown us much interest in going in there on foot so far. They're a pretty top-down team on this objective.
I mean, that has worked so far when they've tried to work with who's on top, pressure them on the bottom. The only part is when they actually struggle with that take. When a roamer is just a little bit too slippery. Oh, no. Oh, no. There goes Maze. There goes your big boy.
Yeah, that is just about the worst time for that to happen as well, because prep phase is over and we were, I think, 30 seconds fully into the round. I think we have a 20-second timer before that will actually get reinstated. Yeah, so that is super rough for Louisville to be seeing right now. Clearly, we'll have technical for that afterwards, but for now, they are down their top fragger. They've got the wall open on CC, which is going to be a good first start, and there's gunfire going out on Bedroom as Toe Holsters fights with Qualzy. Picks up the kill.
So you do, unfortunately, it would have been a 4v4 had Maze still been here, but now it's just kind of plugging up the gap that is left. And, well, with Aqua alone outside, skimming the window for a potential player, and just doesn't find the head of Poozy, who whips around and finds Aqua's. So I think we should try to get Maze back in here as soon as possible. But I honestly think UNK kind of got away with a little bit of a luck streak right there.
There's a little bit of tomfoolery going on there. Yeah, obviously down Maze, that's a pretty big detriment to Louisville. But UNK took the opportunity. They said, okay, well, if they're already down one, it's going to be pretty easy to take some runouts and really take it out of Louisville while they're down for a moment and while they're kind of thinking about something else. And they did, dude. Couple peaks right off the bat. Even Quo's jumping out, dies for it, but it's pretty worthwhile if he's going to trade. Trades for 5v4s are really nice, especially for the defenders. You don't need that many bodies to be up as long as you're just making sure that no one can get in the building.
Okay, so has Maze enabled the cheats? I think that's probably why they left, honestly.
Oh, yes, of course.
Only 4 and 4. We've seen Maze do better, so I think that's clearly what was happening here.
All right. Ooh. Oh, okay. I was thinking that might just be like a Pico murder hole, but it's the vault hole. Pretty nice to have on this wall. Gives you access between the 2 objectives and some more available peak holes on your common plant spots throughout Armory.
10 seconds to go.
One of the many benefits to having a TCSG-12. Great gun, I love that one.
5 seconds to insert.
Yeah, it is a nice gun to use. I really like the sound with the suppressor. It is just thunk, thunk, thunk,
yeah, it's so satisfying.
Beaut.
I love shooting the area around someone's head with it. I just go chunk, 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 and then I die every time. Another peek here, close once again. Yeah, and there he's gonna find what he wants, but it's all body and leg shots. Igris is hurting regardless. Actually gets more damage than he would have if he had gotten the down and then res, and goes us off to other better things. He's not even too concerned that his victim has survived.
I think Icarus taking a lot of damage. You probably can't rush through dirt like they did on the last time. Aqua going down the Jackal as well. That is probably your best solution for hunting down that Oryx, and it's been taken away from you. Relying on something like the Zero and the Gridlock, it's your plan B, but it's all the plans you have in this current situation. Close is making mincemeat of Louisville on some of these attacks.
Yeah, pretty wild to see. He's just feeling out the map right now, going wherever the wind blows. The shotguns have been doing a lot for Louisville right now as they just open up every soft wall that they really come upon at this point. The top floor pretty well secured, but they've spent a lot of time for it, and a lot of health has been spent for this ground secure.
Now using those drones, trying to hunt out where that Oryx could be. Too little, too late. Moved on to greener pastures, and now working that top down that Louisville has done. Should work! And when he strikes, it is lethal. It's 3 for the Oryx, and not a single bit of damage done to them. Maze is going to try to fill in for the major gaps left by his teammates, but honestly, Quoz could run away at this point, and it would just be enough. 3 members down, all by 1 player's hand.
Yeah, here's the thing. The fight hasn't gotten any better. This isn't, For Maze, it wasn't any better of a fight than it was for any of your teammates. It's a 50-50 peak in these things. Icarus is left on only 10 health. Every single point of damage done by the Lopers so far in this round and taken by the Lopers is on Quoz right now. Icarus, well, we said we probably weren't going to see him running it down dirt, and where have we ended up in these final 30 seconds? 4 players haven't even seen anything happen on Lopers until this moment, and one of them's got a shield. It's Coop who gets that last one. It's a flawless, but not quite the ace.
Beaut shot there from what we were talking about early on, the TCSG. So good comeback there from Lopers. I think it's reminiscent of what we saw on the first map, down 3-0. Louisville won 3 in a row. And it wasn't exactly that from the Lopers, but those first 2 rounds were very one-sided. Things changed, especially with Quo's help on the roam. Clam and Coop have done a wonderful job at holding down the site, especially as Kaid, as Mute. But now the sides have swapped. It's Louisville in the defense, Lopers pushing the attack, and now Louisville using their timeout. And at exactly halftime, they're giving everybody orange slices right now as we head on into this second half of map 3, looking to see who will take it in week 7.
I'm thinking about the thing you do with the orange slice where you put it over your teeth so your smile's all orange. That's what I'm imagining them doing as they get ready for the second half. We've seen exclusively even halves so far, 3 and 3. So I think that really speaks to how close this is. Their match records so far have indicated that 5-1 for Louisville on the season and 4-1 for UNK just the same. So seeing these two square off, I think, is one of the better matches we can get in the division. Right now for Louisville, on the attack, some of their major fraggers from last map have had such a hard time popping off. Icarus and Maze here sporting just under even KDs. Iggy actually is the one really bringing it around for the team. And there were some good kills, really bringing up the rear end, I think solidifying the rounds for them. But none of these non-impactful frags. Every single one of these kills that Louisville has are ones that they needed to finish the 3 rounds that they got. And they weren't really getting so much on the ones that they weren't. They were getting rolled pretty hard.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, that Louisville only finding kills on non-impactful rounds. But going on the defense, if they go down, they have to find a way out of it. Quoz hopping on the Cali, unique for a player who has been dominant on a fully automatic SMG. You wouldn't expect them to get on the single fire, single shot weapon. But who knows? Maybe we'll see some nice phase montages coming out from them. As the main goal, is really to just take out the bandit and the bandit batteries hiding behind it.
Oh, yeah, and Callie isn't great at dealing with bandit tricking either, so this might be a little bit of a problem. The drone has told us exactly what's going on in here, even if it is lost and gone to Maze. Or, yeah, to Maze. Qualzy taking a lot of damage. What was that from? Is that a nade tossed all the way deep into cash? That's worth a lot to the attackers. Ooh, no luck for Coop.
Yeah, but Coop hasn't had an exothermic charge destroyed. So it's kind of a trade-off here that you are losing a lot of lances, but you also haven't lost any charges, so I still think the defense
time at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I still think the defense is winning here, regardless of everything, especially as the last lance is gonna be used, and there's still 2 bandit batteries left in, and Maze knows that.
Yeah, Maze is feeling good. He can drop these down and wipe his hands. He's done for the day. All of his electrician work has been paid off. And Quo's going down as well. There's not even that sniper to be contending with anyways. Icarus on the other side of the map slams Clam on this red stairs fight. This extended hold is going to be pretty solid, I think, throughout the round. Toe Ulcers will find that hit back. Qualzy finally shut down after taking all that damage earlier. While the man count is pretty same across the board, just one difference. The defenses, or the attack, is looking pretty worse for wear with having that one down and so little on the board.
C4 getting ripped does take out Coop, so it's kind of the nice icing on the cake for this round for the Lopers, not being a successful gym bedroom attack. And do you think part of that comes down to the Callie, that you do take that risk with her, hoping that they bring something like a mute, or maybe no wall denial at all, but if it's something like a bandit, what Maze did, it really cements the fact that you are not getting inside of that wall.
Yeah, interestingly, it's been a while since I've seen a bandit trick come out and be just so effective, and it happened to be at a time where it just really heavily countered what UNK had brought to bear here. Explosives going off to finish off this round, nothing quite. Katie saved at the very least for Muzi there, but a really solid round for Louisville Black. I mean, it's wild that we're able to talk about a round and say, like, yeah, pretty much it was decided by the actions of one individual, and it wasn't even by a single kill.
And so I think, oh my God, I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, we're just gonna move on.
Same page.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
No. Oh yeah, I got you.
Oh yeah,
we're on the same wavelength. With Louisville going down to the basement, the Lopers, with how they struggled on Gym Bedroom. Luckily for them, this site isn't. It's less about getting inside certain reinforced walls, like maybe ECC or Gym is. It's about taking that top floor in control, getting the roamers in the basement, and coordinating your pushes with information. The basement on Clubhouse can be a pretty difficult site to actually attack if you're going up against a coordinated defense, because if you're not working together and you do not have information, you are going to struggle. But I think Inklopers can do exactly that, especially as they bring the OSA, the Zero, great information operators.
Yeah, they're also bringing Buck, which is kind of interesting for the basement push. I guess he'll probably be really focused out by Kitchen, opening him up the soft floors over here. We'll see what Louisville does when they see that focus over by main stairs as well. Once again, Poozy on Zero and looking to put up some pressure by that dirt tunnel. So we'll see a mirror of quite a few of the things that we saw from Louisville's attack here right off the bat. But they're wasting no time in opening out Kitchen Hatch.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't. If you know they don't have a lot of the denial, that's something you can simply go in, especially use that window so you're free from really any roamers that would hang out by that bar hallway. But Maze taking down Toll Hosters. That's a good peek coming out from them. They hop down to that second floor, which they are assisted by Qualzy, which that is a unique position to be in. Waiting for that gym window hop in. It probably will not come, but hey, it's a shot.
Ooh. Yeah, definitely not worth sticking out here any longer after getting droned out. He's contemplating it, though. Oh, Kowalski, what are you going for? He's actually got these castle barricades to work with, and he hasn't heard any damage on either. So as long as he doesn't move over towards where Quoz is watching, but should be just right. Oh yeah, Quoz has moved off to another angle. So Kowalski will get a lot of damage out, but he's barely staying alive himself. There's the head, and Clam will finish him off. There's 2 gunmen on the other side of that angle. Coop downed in Kitchen. We'll get that res back up. The diffuser has not been lost, and Maze up above. This is fascinating. The defense has made a kill hole out of Bar of all places.
And it's very atypical, but this round has been pretty unusual for the Louisville defense from certain positioning. But Maze is still on the prowl. Nobody has dealt with him, and Lopers really aren't intent on trying to find out where he is. Maze doesn't overstay his welcome up on that second floor, and for the time being, it is a 3v3. Icarus is down but not revived, but it's still Maze on a 3K, looking for more, looking to solidify Louisville, to go to round 5 and really make it a hard comeback for the Lopers. Coop pushing up with not a lot of health by their side as Maze prone, has to back up, has to fire, and Coop doesn't hit those shots. Iggy to end the Osa's career, and Aqua to really put the finishing touch on this round. Louisville look very strong on their defense, Treasure.
Yeah, this is really nice to see for them. While they were kind of struggling in the rounds that they weren't winning outright on the attack, these defensive rounds have all been super convincing so far. Both of them have been. They're going to move on to that third objective, CCTV. None of these tertiary objectives, and even Bar has been proved to be not as the terrible, unplayable site that we all thought it was for so long, especially since the slight rework. So there's not any bad objectives to have as your third one. CCTV is the first objective for a lot of teams, so I don't think that that same confidence is going to be flagging as Louisville moves into the third round on their defense. They're looking to just keep this going. They're looking to keep enabling Maze. He's going to be looking for that same bandit tricking as before, maybe less roam pressure because he doesn't have all the Rima dashes in last round, but still really deadly on the MP7.
Quality and Maze are both on electricity, with Iggy on the mute as well.
Oh my god.
I mean, using the bandit batteries on those quad walls to make it so that you can't get easy access to that one little area that you can shoot onto rafters, as well as using the Kaid to shut down the main wall. Louisville want to make it so that getting inside of rafters or even inside of the site is a difficult task in itself.
Well, we've got 2 EMP grenades. We got 2 proper chances to make this happen here, and then the round's going to take a very different turn if the electrification is not open on CCTV. It's pretty difficult to attack the site without, or it was really difficult to execute a defuse placement on this site. It's not really that different attacking the site if you don't open up the wall. It is one less angle that you have watched pretty statically, but it'll make it really hard to defuse if you don't open up that wall. So Tow Holsters has 2 EMP charges to be using. There's already intel inside, which is going to be helpful for keeping an eye on this, but you don't really want to have given away the location of them if they're in a position where they could be disabling electronics. No one's seen it though.
Yeah, that is a beauty of a zero cam, because it's just inconspicuous enough just to barely squeeze by. Maze walks into lounge. No. Oh my goodness.
Wait.
What happened? Maze has to get the kill. Clam must have been on drones? Had to have been on a drone with Poozy following by. That is a 1 in a million chance of winning that for Maze, especially winning the kill at a Poozy as well.
Yeah, gonna take some extra shots down the hallway just in case someone has redeployed to find him, but nope, the refragger has already been removed, so he is free to leave once again and keep making this impact. His KD is skyrocketing since he's moved to the defense. The Finka charge has been used for some extra health, but it's not gonna be enough to keep Quoz alive. Aqua shuts him down, and Coop coming back in through this doorway where we saw that fated double kill from Maze, who was not that far away still.
It seems like the Lopers just are really out of the loop here. With Iggy dealing some damage to Coop, but it isn't lethal damage. Now Iggy using that C4 as a little bit of a rotate. That will be a distraction as Qualzy just gets caught looking. And there is a small chance that the Lopers could walk out of this as Coop finds the kill, but doesn't. It leaves Toll Hosters all alone outside with access to sight. Really not much more than that treasure. 20 seconds, no diffuser in the pocket, and there's still a good amount of coverage from the defense. The hop-in has to come sooner or later. I would hope sooner, as right now you're saving KD. It's a little bit too late for that, with Icarus underneath fully cleaning that round up. This defense has been all Louisville in one round. Stands between them and victory.
They're just looking beautiful on the defense. I love the confidence. And, I mean, a lot of it's coming from Maze, of course, but we knew that that was going to be the case as we came into this map. Both teams have been really impactful. Roamers, we saw it, of course, for the other side. Quaz and Clam looking really nice for their team. But now we finally activated Maze, and he's just running circles around the Lopers' attack right now. And the confidence of bringing all of that electrification. Kaid's still on the board. Means that you can double up and bring Bandit and Kaid, and that means that you can kind of set it and forget it. It's still going to do its job even if you're not tricking, and now you have more hands free to go running and gunning.
I think that is the one thing, is you don't bog someone down with the monotony of Bandit tricking or anything like that. What I do want to notice, Quoz has not gotten a kill since we hopped over to the attack. I believe they had 9 kills at the start, and they still have 9 kills from here. I might be wrong, but there's nowhere near the same amount of impact that Quotes has had once we've swapped to the attack, and I think that's just because you can't really roam as an attacker. It's a different style of play, and you kind of get pigeonholed into a certain area that maybe you can't flourish as much if you are somebody who plays like Quotes.
It's interesting. I mean, we saw him have some really nice attacking rounds. It's just none of this flanking work has really been paying off now that we've gone to Clubhouse. And Clubhouse does keep you more honest. I would say the same about Oregon on most circumstances, but Quoz was able to slink his way into such impactful flanking angles. Like, we look at when he came down Oregon Big Tower stairs and just cleaned up Louisville, basically, on his own, getting like 3 kills, and then send the rest to Poozy to finish off the round through Freezer. Like, we know he can do this, but this map just seems to be going Louisville's way so much more than it is Loper's way.
I think that is just the defense starting to find their groove. Maze really getting things done and really finding his groove as well. I mean, look at everybody on Louisville. The worst is Qualzy, who is doing a good job on that quote-unquote support role. And everybody else has 6 kills or above. And we're talking about Maze a lot, but they're really spreading all the kills out across the board, making it so that everybody gets their fair share, everybody is contributing, and that's how you know they're starting to dominate this map, not leaving one player to really do all the work, and instead just kind of having it as a team effort, you know, how things are supposed to be.
For the start here, UNK is having a little bit of a hard time. Not a lot that we're seeing for the first minute of action phase. Gone by the bye. We do have someone watching directly in a gym, and it's been secured that it's empty, and that's not going to be hard to deal with. That can be one explosive opens up that castle barricade and will expose Mace, who has to leave. But I think the electrification has done its job and stopped that wall from being opened. Finally shut down on this half. Clam will take his kill, but he's lost his teammate Woozy as well. This staircase has been really impactful every time that we've been on this objective, though, so that is huge to have Clam put up here. And he can put his air jabs there to make sure that no one takes this spot back.
Iggy hanging out in that bar area. Nobody around him, but nowhere to really go with a lot of coverage from the attack. Quam is going to use that drone, hunt out logistic, see if there's anybody that can get taken out on the defense, but there's really not a lot of opportunities presenting themselves. Iggy on the stairs finds the kill onto Clam. despite Clam getting the upper hand at the beginning. Quoz does find that refrag, and now is on those stairs, replacing that Finka. And now Icarus just gets caught looking somewhere else, and Quoz is inside of the site.
You just cannot tell who's got that stairs at a time. Just everyone keeps coming in. Oh, King of the Hill. They're killing as it keeps going back. Quoz now no longer has that position either, as Kowalski's pushed on up. Not quite the trade there. Coop picks up the kill on Aqua. Now it's just Kowalski watching from bench. He's pushing up, kind of giving away his location. Toe Holsters will happily pick that up from Logistics, where he's been hanging out for a good span of time at this point, and finishes off that round. It keeps this one away from that match point for just a little longer.
I feel like that was a round that Louisville should have had. I mean, you know that Quoz was in the bar area. That had to be communicated. And considering how things were, you have to consider stairs as an area where they were going to head. But Louisville just kind of disregarded it, threw it to the side. They still have 2 rounds, though. That's the thing, is they have rounds to give. But I'm worried that if they continue to just make very small mistakes, then we're going to go back into overtime. And then things are going to start to get dicey. Like I was talking about way back when, Siege is a bunch of micro decisions, and it's pretty easy to make the wrong ones, objectively wrong ones, and just find yourself in a hole with no way to get out.
Yeah, well, I can't speak to our first half and, of course, the second half of map 1. But every other one since then has been even 3-3 split. So maybe this is the point where UNK really pulls it all together, brings us to another overtime. It's a lot to do for them. They need these next 2 rounds to go perfectly for them to bring us all the way there. But there is a trend of these 2 teams just going even every single time.
I mean, trends are sometimes pretty easy to break, especially with these teams. I mean, I think map 1 was 7-5. If we got the right thing. And then map 2 was 8-6. And this one being 7-4, like, would break that trend. So clearly that cannot happen. We're here for at least 1 more round, and if not, probably 3 or 4 beyond that.
Especially if we can find this. Okay, the sledge has been brought this round in favored over Buck that we have been seeing from our attack. A lot of hatches open between both teams, so a lot of upwards movement is going to be available, and Maze, of course, is going to be moving across the map.
Moving, and moving with purpose is the one thing. You always gotta have intent when you are moving. As Maze now walking over to this bathroom area, with the nearest players probably being in the bedroom gym, which are intent on hunting down these players. Quality gets shut down by a player inside of stock. That is Clam, who has a buddy, so lot rests on Maze's shoulders. Hasn't been caught out, but doesn't have a great avenue to actually find something to work with. So we reach the second half of the round here. What is the goal with UNK Lopers?
The intel web has just not caught any of the attackers. Maze finally sees someone, but doesn't get what he's been looking for. He's going to be trapped out in Strip Club now. So, are they going to send people to deal with him? Are they going to leave him as a thorn in their side for later in the round? He could be crazy clutch potential for the team. Someone's in billiards now, trying to find him, but it's Maze that takes the head off of Toe Holsters.
We've seen this before. I swear. Yep. We've seen a player in Strip Club being a thorn in the attacker's side. Honestly, Quoth needs to get this done now. Maze cannot be allowed to survive in Strip Club for 5 more seconds, even because that is... Yeah, but because it's drawing time away. So finally, the tumor is removed from the attack, but is it too late? I think it might be. Icarus taking out Coop walking in the hallway means that it's just up to these 2 lone attackers to stop the flurry of defenders to their positions, stop the inevitable victory. With 2 one more push from these attack, taking down 2 along with them. Icarus has to stop this plant. 3 seconds left. Close has to peek it. Are we going to see triple zeros? We don't! And Quo's time not on his side gets it done and keeps us going for one more round.
Well, I will eat my words. They could afford to kill him, and it was just because Quoz was ready to just turn it fully on kill after kill after kill after kill to finish that one out. Unbelievable plays, and I think some mistakes from Louisville in not redirecting their attention early enough. I think Iggy was still watching over into blue when the attackers were coming down through church. Some missed opportunities for the defense on just a couple short little moments, and that crazy lead is getting ever closer.
I want to know, it had to be like triple zeros, right? Because it was, I believe it was like less than 1 second when the peak happened. Man, I feel like you see those a lot more often than you probably should, where teams have such an advantageous lead, and then by the nick of time, somehow the team not in the favorable position walks away with the victory. Lopers haven't really been in a favorable position ever since Louisville's been on match point, but here they are, knocking on the door of overtime, trying to get it done, having to win gym bedroom, and this one is a tall task, Treasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, this gym defense, obviously, they did open it up once 2 rounds ago at the beginning of this now winning streak, I would even hazard to say. So maybe they can bust it open again. They've got these explosives which can need to be used pretty early on for dealing with the castle barricades outside, and stairs has been taken. They opened that thing up early, and they've got a gunman watching that, and hopefully this time for them as well, they can actually open up this jacuzzi wall. That was a big thorn in the side of their last attack, but they were able to make it work.
Oh no, Maze goes down. Are they going to get finished off? That's the one thing, is Maze can get revived. I think they will be able to get revived, but it has to get done. It has to get done right now because, oh no, the Selva's opening the wall. Wait.
Okay, no, there's no heart breach over here right now, is there?
No, the impact EMP, I think, like, stopped it or something, because the Selma got destroyed.
Interesting. There's no explosives got thrown out there. Maze is bleeding out right outside of sight, right next to his teammates. Oh, doesn't even actually get to be bled out. Quoz, I think, finished a drone hole. Now the defense looking worse for wear until Qualzy takes this peek, evens the player count up yet again. Jacuzzi wall has been opened up, but 2 lives have been lost over here.
It's not a good trade in the end. It's map control, though, that might be the inevitable victor for the Lopers, but a shot from Aqua takes out Clam. And now you're trying to bring out the shotgun just to take out that drone. But Quoz, ever since I kind of maybe mentioned that they weren't doing the greatest, has stepped it up. Gotten a multitude of kills, has been a real leader for the Lopers, but now has to finish the job. And yet another unfavorable position, assisted with Coop in the 2v3. The timer is not going to be their friend in this position, Treasure.
Yeah, and they're stalling now that the timer is ticking down. Trying to get a little bit of intel, though. Cooper might be able to find his way in. These are all spots that he's already seen, though. There's a player on the stairs. That's going to be one of the biggest problems. Too deep in the round. That's pretty close to a bear trap, but luckily, the fire is going to be fortunate. Unfortunate, though, is that C4's placement in the end. Coop picks up the first kill of the 3. Needed a second one on Izzy's clearing out the stairs, and it's just Kowalski in construction who needs to slowly push. And he's got a yellow ping to work off of. Sees a not even quite the toe. He can't find him. There he is. There's the head on Coop as well, but he has to find Quoz. Quoz is just taking a parallel path right where he was before, and Kowalski will happily pick that one up. He's got cams from his teammates to work with. Louisville gets to finish this one off a couple mistakes. Quoz could have just held his ground and watched that diffuser, but he went hunting, and now Louisville in the back, nearly overtime of map 3, takes the victory.
Quoz can't get everything done. Like, it was already a 2v3 turned into a 2v1. and it was still a great play by honestly everybody involved. That third map, when it came down to those final rounds, there were some great individual plays, great team plays when it came to pushes and holds. I think we had a wonderful match, even though we only caught about half of it in the end due to unfortunate circumstances at the beginning.
Yeah, I think things actually really, especially in Clubhouse, we were starting to slow down, teams not having the quite finding what they wanted on a lot of plays, and then everything really glowed up in that last half as we were coming towards the end. So all the players that we'd seen really shining before once again found their footing as well. So that's a nice way to go out for both teams, and not bad spots in the standings for either of these. University of Louisville Black getting up to that 6-1 record out of the 9 weeks that they're going to be playing. So that is really nice. They've guaranteed themselves a spot in the top half of the playoffs bracket. And on the other side, University of Nebraska Kearney, they're 4-2 now coming out of this match. Definitely solidly in the middle of the pack, and they've got a couple spots to push up in these last couple weeks as we continue our way closing in on playoff season.
Yeah, both teams in a great position, but that is it from us tonight. We've still got games going up on the B stream, so if you want more Rainbow Six action, you can tune in right over there, but that is it for us on the main stream for Rainbow Six. Make sure you tune in next week as we inch closer and closer to playoffs. Make sure you're there, and we hope you have a great night.
You